So, Part 4, we're not certain, if we went to VA, we're not certain about the Medicaid, Medicare benefits, but there are other benefits out there.
Yeah.
And you've actually physically talked to the medical examiner's office, have you, or the morgue, or who have you talked to?
We have, just because we deal unfortunately a lot with death, given that we're in probate, we have relationships with local funeral homes, and oftentimes they do a lot of the work for us on the end of, we have a body, we need to get the body out of the morgue. They know how to talk to the hospitals, they know what forms are required on their end, and once we have permission from the court for the funeral home to pick them up, they contact the hospital, they provide all of the documentation needed to take the body back to the funeral home, and then it's just a matter of what happens from there. Do we have the resources to bury the person? Is there a loved one that may not be family that is willing to do so? It depends on the situation, but it's extremely helpful, especially the hospitals love it, because people
You have to
build
pay
up
money
on
to
that.
hold that body.
Yeah, exactly. And oftentimes there's no one, and they just sit and sit and sit, and then so we're glad to be able to help, especially with those less fortunate that don't have family or friends that are able to do it.
Now, you're not a lawyer, you're kind of
No.
like a paralegal, meaning
Yes.
you just came in and were trained on the job. You didn't go
Yeah.
to school for it. Have
No,
you done
yeah.
it? And so let me summarize. So, we're talking about getting somebody who buried who has no money, indigent, could be homeless, could be a family member, and they have no family, but at one time they did, obviously.
Yeah.
And the first call, and you're finding out, you have friendly funeral directors that do take a lot of the poor in.
Yes.
And you have relationships with them, but
Yep.
you call them up and you
Yeah.
just ask a question. We have a body, how do we go from here, point A to point B?
Exactly.
And what I'm going to interpret what she's saying. There's nomenclature. That means terminology. There's nomenclature to use. I say it's like going into a different linguistic community, like learning to speak French. The nomenclature, and then there's process and procedures that you engage with that nomenclature, and you're good to go.
Right. Yeah. It's just not a lot of people have to deal with it. So until you're faced with that, what is the protocol and how do we make it happen? So the hospital is able to take that space and utilize it, but the bigger picture is that we are able to lay someone to rest, and I think that's what every human being deserves.
That's right, a
at the
temple
end
of God that you're
their
taking care of.
Yeah.
And you're encouraging people, moms, dads, people who have never maybe not even graduated from high school. You just have to care.
Yes.
You care, you knock on doors, the job will teach you how to do it. Is that fair?
Exactly. And that's basically how we did it. We learned because we had to figure out how to get the job done, and you don't have to necessarily have a law degree to get it done, but we of course we have public administrators that work in our office that are glad to help, and they donate their time and effort to make it happen, and we're grateful for that. Because
Right, and before I put her name and office number, I got to talk to her mom, because this goes out, and I don't know if they're set up for, we can't even handle the
influx
well, people contact you, they want to do good things, but
Yeah.
I can't handle what I
It's
got,
a lot.
and it is. So that's why I'm not going beyond Sarah is her name, and Macomb County, Michigan, but we're trying to help. We're evolving.
Absolutely.
And we'll get that out
Yeah.
there. And your mom is your boss, so we got a double whammy here. Mom's the boss. We got to run everything beside mom, and I'm afraid of her mom. Let me just tell you that.
Me too.
Yeah, there's two of us. I don't want to offend mom.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
And she's
she's a speaker today.
She
in a
is,
room
yeah.
full of lawyers.
Very,
so
very proud of her.
A lot of kudos for her.
She's always saying how this is her calling. God called her to help those less fortunate, and as long as she can find a way to do so appropriately, she always helps. And
It's awesome.
We look at that as that's part of our paying it forward for all the blessings that we got. So
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And again, Teresa, I've got your card and your number, and Teresa of our she's the conscience of the channel here. She can call you, and we want to get some information on Scotty and some updates on that.
absolutely, we would love to be able to help.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.